Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're here with a rotary cutting safety video because, yes, we cut ourselves. And I went looking for other rotary cutter safety videos, and I couldn't find one, but I'm really lousy at looking for stuff. But before we get started on the 30 rotary cutter tips, let's get into our shout outs, right? Our shout out here is Barry at Barry's Quilts, and he's doing all sorts of fun stuff over on his YouTube channel, and his link is going to be in the show note below. Tell him that Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you. We also have all the Zoom sew dates in that description box, so you have to get in there and just mark them down on your calendar and come play with us on Zoom. We have so much fun with a group of us that are coming and hanging out, and we just have a great day. Also, Quilt Bingo will be starting a couple of weeks after Spring Fling ends, and then the Quilt Bingo is a skill builder, and it's going to be at 3 levels, so the beginner, the intermediate, and the expert. So you get everybody gets a bingo card, but everybody's quilt's going to look probably a whole lot different, right? So it'll be a lot of fun. Also, the So Yeah Brothers are having their annual charity drive to the homeless people in Alaska. So I have put their link and their YouTube channel down for more information. I believe the drive ends August 15th, but don't quote me on anything because they're the ones that are running it. But people said they had a great time. Also, share, like, and subscribe. Making comments helps our analytics and helps move our video forward so we can continue giving you fun, free videos and giving you different like how-tos or quilt patterns or whatever. We also have a Facebook group that's a lot of fun. We also host a virtual sewing room in Facebook that's hosted by Discord for the Facebook group members. We have multiple community chats, and we do fabric exchanges by country to keep the postage costs down. We just have a lot of fun. Also, I speak for free to quilting guilds and quilting groups, and I talk about elements of design, how to work with your scrap fabrics or how to organize them, and I also talk about charity quilts. I also come with gifts, so that's a lot of fun as well. Also, if you guys find shout outs, okay, now this goes for the guys who want to get a hold of me for speaking for free. My email is in the About tab on the YouTube channel, right? So you can write me and tell me your shout out, or ask me if I want to come speak to your guild or group. But you can also do it through the Facebook group. I'm a little faster on Facebook Messenger than I am on email, but that's okay. Now, let's get on to this rotary cutting thing. We are filming this June 16th. Now, I cut my finger on June 5th. And I cut the tip off. No, I'm not showing you because it's gross. Because and I'm not showing you how I did it. That's also gross. But anyway, so on June 7th, we had our Zoom sew date. So I told everybody what happened and how I cut my finger. And I said, okay, I'm going to get your tips for rotary cutter safety when you're using a rotary cutter. And I ended up with 30 ideas. It's like, and there will be a PDF in there with all the ideas and all the things not to do. And this is the second time I've cut my finger, and it's not as bad. I didn't need stitches, and no, I didn't end up with a concussion because I didn't pass out and hit my head on the floor. But it was really, really painful. And I was like, okay, so the first tip is to wear shoes. Because if this drops when it's open. Now mine's an ergonomic one with a trigger, but if it drops and it's open, it'll go right through your skin on your feet or your ankle or whatever, right? So it's important to wear shoes, right? When you're in your sewing room and especially using your rotary cutter. Both times I've cut myself, all the times I've ever cut myself with this rotary cutter, I have this rotary cutter and other ones, but I have been seated, right? Because what happens is my cutting table's a little low, so I trim and standing and trim, and then all of a sudden my back starts having issues, and I sit down and I think, oh, I'll just trim a few more, or I'll just cut a few more. That's when I have cut myself, right? So I either change the height of my cutting table so I can continue cutting standing, or I stop cutting when I'm seated. One of the two has to happen, because that's been my time when I have cut myself, right? Is when I've been sitting. Close the rotary cutter when not in use. Very important. Very important that these rotary cutters, like this one here, is perfect for me because it's got the ergonomic grip, but it also has a locking mechanism. Now I can't, once it's locked, that rotary cutter blade isn't going to be exposed anywhere. And store the rotary cutter safely when not in use. Yes, because I have grandchildren that come into my sewing room and they don't understand how sharp this thing is. I mean, I showed them on the weekend, it was Father's Day yesterday, and I explained to them that, Grandma cut the tip of her finger off. That's why I have a Band-Aid. And they were like just mortified. But I said, it'll heal up nice and it'll be fine. But I said, I got cut on a rotary cutter, so never pick up anything in my sewing room. But yes, to store it up safely. And I have pegboard that I store it up, and the littlest one can't reach it. So, I mean, the two littlest can't reach it, actually. I don't know if Bobby can, my oldest, but that's okay. He knows it's sharp. Don't cut at weird angles. Now, okay, weird angles. Okay, so I have a piece of fabric down here. Now, this is locked, so I'm not going to be actually cutting. So I line it up like this. So I'm cutting this way. And then cutting this way, right? And then you're cutting this way. No. You're over your arms, and this is where you're going to, like, do some serious damage. If this slips, you're going to go right into your arm. The other thing is don't cut towards yourself. Cutting towards yourself, like if you're cutting this way, no, that's really dangerous, right? I mean, especially too if your rotary cutter blade is a little dull and you're pressing down and giving it some pressure, that's going to have some issues. Make sure your rotary cutter blade is sharp. In the kitchen, I have never cut myself with a sharp kitchen knife. Never. Never cut myself. Because you don't have that pressure that you need to cut like a tomato or celery or anything like that. Dull ones, yes, I have cut myself on dull knives, but never a sharp one. So if this is dull, you need to change that blade. Because when you're using a dull blade too, you're putting more force on that, that edge, that ruler edge to cut your fabric, right? And that can, because you're using more force, you might not have as much control, right? So, watch hands on ruler, never too close. Okay, you see people do this. They use the skinny magic wand and they've got it down and they're trying to cut. I can't even watch the video because it just sends cringes up my body. It's just like, oh my gosh, that's too small. And there are some rulers that are way too small that you shouldn't never use with a rotary cutter because they're just too tiny. It's like your at a quarter ruler. The ones, they're now coming out, mine is just 1 inch wide. But they're now coming out with ones that are shorter, like the 6-inch, but they're like 2 inches wide. So your fingers are further away from that cutting edge, which is perfect, right? Let's see. Use non-slip rulers. Non-slip rulers. Spray on. There's a spray-on thing that you can put on these rulers, right? Like this one's kind of slippery. There's spray-on stuff that you can do to make this a little tackier surface so it doesn't move. You can also use medical tape. Like that clear medical tape you buy at the drugstore. You put like, a couple here, and one in the middle. And you've got a non-skip ruler. Like this is not moving on this cutting surface, right? Use rotating mat for small trimmings, right? Now this is, fairly decent sized mat, but it's nothing to pick this up and rotate it. Or you can buy one of those rotating mats if you have that kind of money in your budget. Like my large table, my cutting table, I can go stand at a couple of different positions so that I'm not like cutting towards me and all the rest of the stuff. But yes, my cutting mats are not glued down. Let's see. Keep out of the reach of small children. Well, yes. Like I say, my youngest grandchild is 6, right? It's not a race. I'm so sorry now I didn't put people's names beside this because no, it's not a race. So you don't have to do things quickly. You can do things, you know, gently and, you know, slowly and really think about it. Is my rotary cutter right up against the ruler? You know, like sometimes when you're racing, the rotary cutter, you pick it up and then it's on the ruler. Well, now it's going like this, right? Don't get distracted. When you are cutting, that's what you're doing. If somebody comes into the room and starts talking to you, you put your rotary cutter down, right? Because that, you know, like that could, you know, or if they startle you, you know, make sure you put your rotary cutter down because you don't want to have this thing flying in the air. Don't cross over your arms. Now, this is what they're talking about here, is you cross this way, and then this way. That's that cross, like you got a weird angle going on. Don't cross over your arms. Don't cut too many layers at once. Yes, when I have a really sharp blade, I can cut 8 at a time, 8 layers at a time. But I shouldn't be cutting 8 layers at a time. I should be cutting like 4, right? I mean, these things, they get dull very quickly, just even cutting 4 at a time, right? So yes, just not too many layers at once. Don't run with a rotary cutter. I don't know who said that, but I thought, yeah, that's a really good idea. Don't run. Especially the way I run. You know, I sometimes trip now. So make sure you have your glasses on and are able to see. That's such a good tip that, you know, some of us as we get older, we need reading glasses or we need bifocals or whatever. Yeah, make sure they're on so you can able to see what you're doing. Use the right size of ruler and gripper. Yes, there's a gripper around here somewhere, and I think my husband moved it out so we could film today. But yes, I will show you a gripper. Use a phone gripper for your quilting rulers. Now, the phone grippers are those ones that fit behind like an iPhone or whatever, and they've got that little finger grip that makes your fingers go like this. Well, yes, that you can put on rulers, and it's easier then to, you know, manage your rulers so they don't slip, right? Because there's, you know, it's kind of hard to hold on to this when it's lying flat. Never cut when overtired. Oh, I have been guilty of this so many times, cutting when I'm overtired, and I know I should stop, right? Have good lighting for cutting, yes, because it's important that you see where you're cutting and what you're doing. So having light from above and from one side or whatever is perfect. But not, you know, to be casting a shadow over your work. Get a klutz glove. Yes, I have a klutz glove, and I just got it off Amazon. And you can also get gloves, culinary gloves, that are cut proof. You can also use them too. Sometimes they're a little cheaper than the klutz gloves from quilting stores. Don't cut too much at one time. We said that already. Okay. Consider purchasing an AccuQuilt cutting system or other cutting tools. If you have the money for an AccuQuilt and the dies, go for it, right? The cutter, the AccuQuilt cutter, is, you know, very reasonably priced. I found the dies to be kind of on the expensive side, but you can start with some very basic dies if you want. I mean, if money's not an object and this is, you know, what you want to do, sure, why not? You know, like if you're into this, you're into this. And then you can leave it set up as long as you have room to leave it set up in a cutting table situation, you know, your die or your Studio Go where you just press a button and it goes through. Like, as long as you have room and have it set up and are using it all the time. Because mine will go under the table and then I don't pull it out for a long time because I don't cut, you know, mass bulky stuff. Like, I don't cut like a whole bunch of 2.5-inch strips all at once, right? Because that's not how I work. Okay, have your cutting table at the correct height. And basically they said it's belly button height. That is very true, because my cutting table, I've just got an old dining room table, an old table that we used to eat at the kitchen, and it's too low for me, so I need something higher. Right, like, you know, like waist high, right? So that I'm not hunched over and, you know, I can cut freely, and then I'm not bending the wrong way, so my back is not giving me issues. Keep pets away from cutter. Oh, yes. Yes, that's such a good idea. When Albert was alive, Albert every once in a while would be like, you know, like trying to grab, no. And it was like really scary. So he got booted out of the sewing room very quickly because, you know, yeah, he's going to get himself cut and hurt. And how do you explain to a vet that he's cut off all his closet this funny angle? I mean, you know, like, I would hate to try and explain that to a vet. And it's hard to, you know, and what a horrible thing to do to your cat, right? So, no drinking or painkillers allowed with rotary cutters. That, yes, it is. Very much so. If you haven't had a good night's sleep and you're waking up all foggy brained, don't be picking up your cutter. That's another one. No drinking, no painkillers. Get plenty of rest before you do a rotary cutting. You know, yeah, kind of think of it like drinking and driving. Well, you know, you don't want to be rotary cutting and having, you know, issues. Or like sometimes too, people can be impaired driving because they have not gotten enough sleep. Well, it's the same thing with a rotary cutter, right? If you're impaired because you're not getting enough sleep or something else is going on that's impairing your ability, yeah, don't be using your rotary cutter. And I think that was all 30. I was so impressed and so happy. This is the kind of thing we do on the Zoom sew dates, is I take all of these, and sometimes we'll have, okay, I need ideas for this, I need ideas for that, I need, you know, and we have a whole bunch of people there shouting out ideas. Sometimes it's hard to write down the ideas, and if I missed any of the ideas that were given to me that day on June 7th, I'm so sorry, but I can only write so fast and you guys are going really quickly. But yes, it was a kind of a thing I needed to do because, yeah, cutting your finger again is not cool. Yes, so anyways, I hope, oh yes, I'm just going to go stop that video right now for now, and I'm going to show you the klutz gloves and my gripper, okay? So here we go. I'll cut now and we'll come back. Okay, we're back. And not to say anything against Olaf cutters, because this cutter and me have been very happy friends. And then I cut myself, and then I can't use it. So, I mean, this guy, I have a couple of them that I really enjoy because of the ergonomic issues that I have. There's all sorts of different rotary cutters out there as well, like Martelli, and I forget all the other ones that are out there. They all work great. So, as long as you are safely using your rotary cutter, you're not going to have an issue. So, what I promised was a gripper. Now, this is a gripper my dear friend Connie gave me, and I really, really like it. It's got a good, solid grip behind it, and it's got little suction cup things here. So, what you do is you place it on a ruler. I wonder if this is big enough. And then you press this open. Like, hang on. We have to figure this out. So you press it open and you put it down on a ruler, and then you clip it down, and then it's suctioned. This thing ain't going anywhere. It's really good for large rulers, like your 24-inch rulers or by 6.5 or 6-inch or whatever. They're really good for those because this thing is not going anywhere. Like, I can't even pull it apart. I lack grip now because this part of my finger, I haven't got enough grip to do this. Now, the klutz gloves, I do not have a klutz glove. I have the cooking gloves, the ones that are, you know, cut resistant. Like you can't cut into these things with a rotary cutter. This one is a Rock A6. And I guess if you're using things like meat cleavers, this is a cooking one, right? So it's, you know, it's cut resistant for this as well. And I'm like, I do use them. I would be using them more if I'm doing lots of cutting. I find they're a little tight, right? But I have really good grip then, right? Like I have good grip on my rotary cutter, but this is not the hand you're putting the glove on. It's this hand, right? The hand that's holding the ruler, right? So I can't put it on right now because my bandage is too big. But anyway, so both of these we got off of Amazon. So you can just look for klutz gloves, or you can look for a Rock or Tennessee. I know, I can't, yeah. So these are, like I said, there's lots of these kind of gloves. Look in the cooking section, right? The cooking section for like for kitchen cutting anti-cut gloves, or you can just look for quilting anti-cut gloves as well, as if you want. But yeah, these are both great ideas. And when you don't want the ruler here, you just kind of tilt it this way and you take it off. Maybe. Well, you struggle to get it off. There, I got it off. Yeah. So this is kind of a nice tool to have as well, right? So just have it in your arsenal. Okay, so I guess we're done. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead and life is treating you grand, and you haven't had or will get a rotary cutter accident with your hand or your feet or any other body part, because it's really painful. And I do hope you find some good tips in here. Like, I'm going to make a PDF of all the tips that I got and put it in the show notes as well, so that people have access to it. I mean, it's nice to have a little refresher, especially before you do a big cutting job. Let's say you're cutting out for a queen size or king size quilt. It's a good idea to do a little refresher on like Rotary Cutter Safety, so you don't end up with half your quilt cut and then you're bleeding on fabric. That would be not good. So anyways, you guys take care and stay well until we see each other again. Okay, bye! My husband and I would like to thank you for all of your support and watching our videos and sharing and liking. It has just been, you've put us on such an amazing journey, and we are having so much fun. I hope everything is going so well in your life, and your 1/4 inch is perfect. Everything is working out for you. And we're just so happy to be part of your lives, and you having, like I say, you're watching us. I was just so thrilled that you're doing that. So I want to say goodbye, and I want to thank you with all my heart. Okay? Take care. Bye.